I didn't set out to find a lost paradise. I set out to understand a modern mystery. The mystery of why our world, a world brimming with technological marvels, instant communication, and unprecedented material wealth, feels so disconnected, so stressful, so spiritually empty. We have everything our ancestors could have ever dreamed of, yet we walk through our days with a quiet sense of anxiety. A feeling that something fundamental is missing. We try to fill this void with entertainment, with consumption, with endless scrolling, but the feeling persists. A low, constant hum of dissatisfaction, a longing for a peace we can't quite name. For years, I believed this was simply the price of modern life, a psychological quirk of our times. But the deeper I looked into the anomalies of our past, the impossible architecture, the buried histories, the forgotten technologies, the more a different, far more radical explanation began to emerge. The evidence suggested that this feeling of loss isn't just in our minds. It's not a bug in our modern software. It's an echo of a life that was stolen from us. A memory, buried in the very marrow of our bones, of a world that was everything ours is not. This is not just an investigation into old buildings and forgotten empires. It's a search for the forbidden life of Tartaria, a life of perfect harmony with nature, effortless access to clean, vibrant energy, and a state of human consciousness so elevated, it was deemed a threat to those who would control our world. A life that was not lost to time, but was deliberately, violently, wiped out by a global reset. To understand what was stolen, we must first allow ourselves to imagine it, to step out of our world of noise and distraction, and into the quiet harmony of theirs. Imagine awakening in a Tartarian home. There is no jarring alarm clock. You are not ripped from your dreams. Instead, your consciousness is gently coaxed awake by a soft, resonant hum that seems to emanate from the very walls of the room. It's a specific frequency, a cymatic tone, designed to tune the cells of your body, aligning your spirit with the coming day. As the sun rises, light pours through the impossibly tall windows. But this is not just light. It feels intelligent. It carries a current of well-being, bathing the room in a full spectrum of color and frequency that our modern, sterile environments have forgotten. There is no stale, recycled air. The air itself is vibrant, alive, charged with the clean scent of ozone and the vital energy of the giant flora just outside your window. To wake up in this world was not an event. It was an act of attunement. You move through your home, a space that is both a work of art and a piece of living technology. There are no light switches on the walls, no screens demanding your attention. The technology of this world was not a separate, mechanical thing. It was a seamless extension of nature. It responded not to your touch, but to your presence, your intention. Water flows from a faucet, not just clean, but structured and vitalized by the very pipes it moves through. Food is prepared in a hearth that emanates a gentle, harmonic heat, cooking with frequencies that preserve life force, not destroy it. You prepare to leave for the city center. You don't step into a noisy, polluting vehicle that spews poison into the air. You step onto a personal conveyance, or into a silent public tram that glides effortlessly along magnetic ley lines, woven into the very fabric of the streets. Travel was not a chore. It was a silent, graceful dance. And what of the people? What kind of human being is born from such a world? The concept of the chronic, lifestyle-induced diseases that plague our society would have been alien. Their bodies, constantly tuned by their environment, vibrated at a frequency of perfect health. They were taller, yes. Stronger, yes. But the most profound difference was not physical, but conscious. Communication was not limited to the clumsy medium of the spoken word. Thoughts, feelings, and complex ideas could be shared directly. A silent, telepathic communion of minds. This is why their massive construction projects show such impossible unity of design. They were expressions of a unified, collective consciousness. Their society was not driven by the frantic pursuit of wealth or the fear of scarcity. It was driven by the joyful pursuit of creation. They built beauty for its own sake, as an outer reflection of their inner harmony, their art, their music, their architecture. It was all a celebration of the divine frequency that animated their world. This, then, was the ultimate forbidden life. Not just the free energy, not just the silent technology, but the type of human being that such a world creates. Healthy, telepathic, deeply connected to nature and each other, and living in a constant state of elevated consciousness. A human being that was free. And therefore, a human being that had to be erased. A beautiful dream, perhaps. A fantasy of a lost utopia. But what if the proof of this forbidden life is all around us, relabeled and explained away by a history written by the victors? What if the monuments to this lost world have been hiding in plain sight, their true purpose concealed? Let's examine the evidence. Evidence, the power plants, and the healing grid. All across the globe, we find the same impossible structures. The great cathedrals of Europe, the intricate mosques of the East, and, most tellingly, the massive, geometric star forts that dot the landscape on every continent. The official narrative gives them separate, mundane purposes: a place of worship, a military defense. But when you map their locations, you find they are not random. They are placed with geometric precision along the Earth's majorly lines. Its natural energetic pathways, the architecture itself, the spires reaching for the sky, the domes acting as resonant chambers, the star-shaped design to channel and amplify energy. It all points to a single, unified function. These were not separate buildings. They were nodes in a global energy system. The heartbeat of the city. They didn't just provide free energy to power the silent technology. They bathed the entire population in a field of coherent, life-affirming frequencies. They were the engines that powered the forbidden life. Evidence be the structured waterways. We are told the extensive canal networks of the old world were simply for trade, but the engineering defies this simple explanation. The precision, the strange vortex-based flow designs, the use of materials known to hold energetic charge. It all points to a secondary, more profound purpose. In this model, the water itself was a technology. It was structured as it flowed through these systems, imbued with a harmonic resonance. The canals were not just arteries for commerce. They were veins, carrying life, giving energized water to the population for healing, for agriculture, and for maintaining the high, vibrational environment of their cities. So how do you wipe out a civilization powered by harmony and frequency? You don't just tear down the buildings. You disrupt the frequency. You sever the connection. Evidence C, the weaponized reset, the mud flood. The official story cannot explain the worldwide phenomenon of the mud flood. Entire first, sometimes second, floors of magnificent buildings, buried in a sudden, cataclysmic deluge of liquefied earth. This was not a natural flood. A natural flood leaves a watermark and recedes. This was a burial, a deliberate act of erasure. The evidence strongly suggests this was not a natural event, but the result of a frequency weapon, a technology that could target specific areas and induce soil liquefaction, toppling some structures while burying others. The goal was twofold. First, to physically bury the evidence, hiding the true scale and beauty of the old world under a new layer of manufactured ground. And second, and far more sinister, to break the energetic grid, to sever the connection between the power plants and the Earth's ley lines, to turn the vibrant, flowing structured water into stagnant, dead mud. The mud flood was not just a cataclysm. It was the pulling of the plug. The moment the music of the forbidden life was silenced, and the hum of our modern, disconnected world began. A global cataclysm, a world buried. But the physical destruction of the Tartarian world was only the first phase of the reset. The true target was not the buildings. It was the memory, the very idea that a forbidden life of harmony and higher consciousness was ever possible. Once the music stopped, and the world was shrouded in mud and silence, the second, and arguably more important phase of the reset began. The Great Information War, the systematic rewriting of history. First, the survivors were dealt with. We see the strange, haunting evidence in the phenomenon of the orphan trains. We are told they were a philanthropic effort to find homes for orphaned children. But the scale and timing suggest a far more chilling purpose. These were the children of the reset, the remnants of a shattered world, rounded up, their trauma and memories suppressed, and then redistributed across the new, empty landscapes. They were blank slates, ready to be programmed with a new, fabricated history. The first generation of the amnesiac world. Next, the knowledge itself was attacked. The science of vibration, of ethereal energy, of the connection between consciousness and the physical world. This was the most dangerous knowledge of all. It was systematically hunted down, classified as heresy, occultism, or a pseudoscience. It was driven underground, locked away in secret societies and Vatican vaults, while a new, safer science was promoted. This new science, our modern materialistic science, was brilliant in its own way, but it came with a built-in limitation. It was a science of the observable, the measurable, the physical. It denied the existence of anything it could not hold in its hand. It gave us machines, but it took away our magic. It gave us information, but it took away our wisdom. It was the perfect science for a civilization that needed to forget its own divinity. Finally, with the people and the knowledge neutralized, the new story was written, a new history. The narrative of progress, a simple, comforting, and utterly false story that we still teach our children today. The story goes like this: our ancestors were primitive, superstitious, and lived short, brutish lives. Through a slow, linear march of progress, driven by invention and industry, we gradually climbed out of the darkness. Each generation became smarter, healthier, and more advanced than the last. Are the pinnacle of this journey. It is the greatest lie ever told. It is a lie designed to make us feel grateful for our disconnected, stressful world. It is a lie designed to make us believe that this is the best humanity can ever be. And it is a lie that has been fiercely guarded by the gatekeepers of our history. The universities, the institutions, the mainstream media, who dismiss any evidence to the contrary as conspiracy theory, not because it has been disproven, but because it threatens the very foundation of the manufactured reality they control. The reset was not just the destruction of a civilization. It was the imposition of a cage, a mental prison. A cage built not of bars and steel, but of a single devastating idea, that we are, and have always been, small. Wiping out a world and creating a false narrative is one thing. But how do you make that narrative stick? For centuries? How do you ensure that future generations never stumble upon the truth? You do this by creating gatekeepers. Official institutions designed not to preserve history, but to curate it. The destruction of knowledge was not left to chance. It was an organized, institutional effort, and its primary target was any physical evidence that contradicted the new story of a primitive past. This brings us to the dark secret of our most trusted museums and historical societies. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, as the new territories of the world were being excavated, countless discoveries were made that threatened the narrative of progress. Reports flooded in of anomalous artifacts, strange technologies, and most disturbingly, the skeletal remains of human beings of giant stature. This is where an institution like the Smithsonian plays its shadowy role. We have numerous accounts from the period, and even modern whistleblowers, who allege that the institution actively participated in the suppression of this evidence. Skeletons of giants, which would have single-handedly demolished the primitive ancestor story, were acquired from local archaeologists, documented, and then they disappeared, lost in fires, misplaced in archives, or deliberately destroyed, according to some sources. Their official purpose was to preserve history. Their actual function, it seems, was to sanitize it. The second front in this information war was the control of education. The new controllers of the world, the industrial barons, the banking dynasties, funded the very universities and publishing houses that would write the new history books. A curriculum was established. A story was agreed upon. In this new story, the magnificent, surviving Tartarian architecture was explained away. The Great Wall of China, built by primitive laborers by hand. The pyramids, the same. The star forts, simple military defenses. No mention was made of their mathematical perfection, their energetic properties, or their global uniformity. They became tourist attractions, stripped of their true world-changing purpose. And so, a new past was manufactured. We were taught that we are the peak of civilization, the inheritors of a linear, unbroken chain of progress. It is a lie designed to keep us looking forward to the next technological distraction, and to never, ever look back and question the true nature of the world that was stolen from us. They didn't just bury the cities of Tartaria in mud. They buried its memory in a library of lies. But the most successful cover-ups don't just happen in dusty archives or university halls. The most successful cover-ups happen inside the human mind. The final phase of the reset was not the destruction of evidence, but the engineering of a global amnesia, the great forgetting. To make the new history stick, you needed a new humanity, a humanity disconnected from its past, unaware of its true potential. And for that, you needed to start with the children. This is where the story of the orphan trains reveals its most chilling layer. This wasn't just about repopulating a devastated landscape. It was about creating a generation of blank slates. Imagine being a child, a survivor of a cataclysm you can't comprehend. Your home, your family, your entire world, gone. You are rounded up, placed on a train with thousands of other traumatized children, and shipped to a new land. You are not told what happened. You are not allowed to speak of the world that came before. You are given a new name, a new family, a new life. and you are told to be grateful. The memory of the forbidden life, of the harmony, the energy, the connection, is buried under a thick layer of trauma. It becomes a ghost in your mind, a nameless H you will carry for the rest of your life. This was the first generation of the amnesiac world, a generation programmed to forget, with the memory of the past severed. The knowledge that supported it was left to wither and die. The science of the forbidden life, the understanding of vibration, ether physics, and the power of consciousness, was not just suppressed. It was made to seem ridiculous. It was relabeled as mysticism, superstition, the occult. In its place, a new, safer science was elevated. A materialistic science that taught us a fundamental, soul-crushing lesson. If you cannot measure it, it is not real. Consciousness became a random byproduct of brain chemistry. The universe became a dead, mechanical clockwork. Our own bodies became simple machines, prone to failure. This wasn't just a shift in thinking. It was a downgrading of reality itself. We were taught to see the world with only 5 senses, and to distrust the 6th. We were taught to believe in a world of separation. Separation from nature, separation from each other, and most tragically, separation from our own divine potential. And so, within just a few generations, the forgetting was complete. We could look at the magnificent, impossible architecture of our ancestors and feel nothing but a vague sense of aesthetic appreciation. We could walk over the buried energy lines of the old world and not feel the hum beneath our feet. We became tourists in the ruins of our own paradise, blind to the truth of what we were seeing. The great forgetting was the ultimate victory of the reset, because it convinced us that the cage we live in is the only world that has ever existed. So where does this leave us? Adrift in a sea of amnesia, trapped in the ruins of a forgotten paradise. No. The controllers of the reset made one critical error. They believed that memory could be completely erased. They buried the cities, they burned the books, and they programmed the survivors. But they overlooked one inescapable truth. You cannot erase an echo. That feeling of anxiety you feel in our modern world, that constant, low-level stress, that longing for a deeper meaning, for a real connection, for a sense of peace that always seems just out of reach. That is not a flaw in your design. It is not a weakness. It is a strength. It is the echo within. It is the memory of the forbidden life, buried deep in your soul, trying to break through the amnesia. It is the cellular memory of a world that vibrated in perfect harmony. It is the ghost of your true potential, reminding you that you were designed for something more than this. The reset was not the end of the story. It was an interruption. And the awakening is happening now. It is happening in every person who looks at an old building and feels a sense of awe they can't explain. It is happening in every person who feels more at peace in nature than in a crowded city. It is happening in you, right now, as you question the story you've been told. We do not need to rebuild the great cities of Tartaria. We do not need to unearth their silent technology, to reclaim the forbidden life. We only need to do one thing. Remember how to listen. Listen to the echo. Tune your own consciousness back to that frequency of harmony, beauty, and connection. The paradise was never just a place. It was a state of being. And a state of being can be reclaimed. Right here, right now. The new story, our story, is not about what was lost. It is about what is being remembered. We were conditioned to forget a paradise. The only question that remains is, are we brave enough to remember it?